such as a state university, I think we all have a role to play to improve the research capabilities and scientific knowledge here in the country. I think it is about time for us to realize that one of our roles as academics, as researchers, as scientists, is to actually contribute to that global body of knowledge.
And the role of this cooperation among these government agencies really is to be able to attract science and technology global-based companies to set up shop here. And that is really key in terms of developing the science and technology innovation ecosystem in the country.
Particularly because there's that deep desire. And what PAASE does and can do more of is to promote this relationship between its members.
We really need to ratchet up the appreciation, the recognition of the importance of science and technology and innovation.
And we are all trying to attain what we call the common good, the greater, higher, long-term good of the Filipino people.
So we will start in 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Gladys Completo, the current Vice President of the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering, or PAASE in short. So what is our organization? It's an organization of scientists and engineers of Philippine descent actively involved in scholarly and academic research activities. And it has promoted collaborative work between US, Europe, and Philippine-based researchers aiming to contribute to the advancement of science and technology in the Philippines. And actually today, we are celebrating this week, we are celebrating our 43rd anniversary. And we started it with our activity yesterday with the President's Summit. And for our second day, we are featuring a webinar by Dr. Ramon Razal. And PAASE sponsors a monthly webinar with different themes. And to formally start this webinar, I would like to call on our president, Dr. Mario Santo Domingo.
Maraming salamat Gladys, VP Gladys Completo. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat and good evening from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm very happy that I was able to make it. I came from Washington, D.C. and now I'm here and would like to welcome, of course, Dr. Razal, our special webinar presenter today. So this is part of the 43rd anniversary week celebration of PAASE. And we are really thrilled that one of our respected scientists is able to share his wisdom for us today. So, and it's a topic that's really very close to many of our hearts and our lives, you know, bamboo. So I grew up in a place that actually has a lot of bamboo trees, and so it's really quite very relevant to my life. And now that I am going to listen to a scientific presentation on what is so familiar yet is so not familiar at the same time, because of course this is not my field of study. So thank you very much for our organizers. Of course, I'd like to thank Dr. Completo, si Feb Esclares, who are our administrative officer, who took a lot of time, you know, preparing for this event. So I'd like to see our audience engaged and ask thoughtful questions after this presentation. And I really look forward to a more engagement in our future events during the anniversary week. Maraming salamat po, and please enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. So I just want to share screen, and I would like to introduce our speaker. Okay. So I am honored to introduce our special guest today, Dr. Ramon Razal. He was just appointed as Professor Emeritus at the University of the Philippines, Baños, last year in November. But before that, he was a professor, and he was a full professor, Professor 12, during his time of retirement from the UPLB College of Forestry and Natural Resources Department of Forest Products and Paper Science in August 2021. He has been actively involved in a lot of research projects, particularly in bamboo, and still continues to provide consultancy services to bamboo-related research and community outreach projects. He is currently the Vice President of Bamboo Professionals Incorporated and a member of the Board of Trustees of Non-Timber Forest Products Exchange Program, Asia, and has become a member of the Department of Trade and Industry Bureau of Product Standards Technical Committee on Bamboo and Rattan since 2010. He, as being a Professor 12 when he retired, obviously has published a lot of scientific journals, and he is a senior author of Non-Wood Forest Products of the Philippines in 2009, just to name a few of his significant papers and articles. And another one is Mainstreaming Engineered Bamboo Products for Construction and Furniture in 2012. And he is one of the 3 authors of Amazing Bamboo, Rediscovering Its Wonders and Potential 2022. One of the key positions that he held here in UPLB is that he was the Dean of the UPLB College of Forestry and Natural Resources for several years. And he was also the president of the National Research Council of the Philippines from 2019 to 2020. He received his bachelor's degree here in UPLS Baños cum laude in 1978. He also got his master's here in UPLS Baños, but he obtained his PhD in Virginia Tech University. Let us all welcome Dr. Ramon Razal, who I consider as one of my mentors here in UPLB. Thank you. Dr. Razal. You're muted, sir.
Thank you, Gladys, for that very generous introduction. Can you see my screen now?
We're just waiting. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You may screen share, sir.
Okay, thank you. I just used the PubMat of PAASE for the opening slide of my presentation. And of course, good morning to everybody who's attending this webinar. Congratulations to PAASE for its 43rd year anniversary. Thank you, Dr. Mario, for the warm welcome. And also, I would like to make special mention of the invitation that was extended to me by Dr. Completo, who happens to be my kababayan in Ginubatan, Albay. So I cannot say no to her because she's the incoming president of PAASE. And because to the best of my knowledge, she's the first from our town who was admitted to the Philippine Science High School. So I really could not say no to Gladys. I just hope I could enjoy my retirement, but here is the opportunity to be able to share my thoughts about bamboo. Let's see how do we move this forward. It's not moving.
Sir, sa taas next.
Okay. Here I have modest objectives for this presentation, and this will also serve as the outline for this talk. I will provide a brief overview of bamboo as a plant and the characteristic of the culm, which is the most important or the most useful part of the plant. I will also offer a glimpse of the Philippine bamboo industry. And thirdly, present the results of a value chain study on bamboo that I undertook in November to December last year. So actually, this is the trigger why I chose the title, Reflections on the Science and Business of Bamboos in the Philippines. And I'll cap this talk with some reflections on the role of science and also asked for your views on how science can contribute to improving community-based bamboo enterprises in the Philippines, as well as the Philippine bamboo industry in general. So with apologies to those who can still clearly remember their botany, bamboo is a member of the subfamily Bambusoideae of the grass family, Poaceae, comprising of more than 115 genera and 1,400 species. This number varies depending on the authors. You can see on the right that bamboo is a tree-like grass. So it's a grass, just like rice, sugarcane, corn. bamboo is a grass. And but unlike other grasses, it's a growing perennial, and it grows rather fast. Some species can extend their heights to as much as 30 centimeters per day. As I've mentioned, the most important part is the stem. It's ringed, it's jointed, it's called come. It is mostly hollow in the center, but the cell wall or the come wall is lignocellulosic, very similar to the lignocellulosic components that you can find in wood. And for this reason, this come is widely used for applications that are very similar to the applications of wood. And the Philippines happens to be one of the countries where bamboo grows favorably. You can see on the map the 3 different regions in the world where bamboo can thrive, and the Philippines belong to the South Asia and Southeast Asia region. The other regions are in Africa and also in North and Central and upper northern part of Latin America. So we use bamboo, the come, as a structural material, but our practice is to basically call the material bamboo without regard to the species where the bamboo comes from. But actually, bamboo coming from different species have different properties. And because of these differences in properties, they differ in their processing characteristics and in their uses. And looking at the come, you can find variations in the thickness of the come wall. Also, the diameter of bamboo, different species of bamboo differs. And then there is difference in the roundness of the come. Along the length, you can find differences in the distance between the nodes. Some comes exhibit bending or bow, and there is also tapering, meaning the diameter of the come changes along the length. So these are just some of the variations that you can notice in the properties of bamboo. And although I've said that bamboo, the come, is the most important part of bamboo, and that it has properties very similar to wood, comparisons have been made to show that in many cases, bamboo is even better than wood. Harvest time is rather short, and it has been shown by recent studies that it has better ability to absorb carbon dioxide, and because of that, it has also better ability to release oxygen. It is light, unlike wood, where the weight varies from the very light, like the balsa, and to heavy woods like ironwood and lawan. The structure is fibrous, as you can see from the figures on the slide. You can easily tell if it is the material is made of bamboo compared to the grainy appearance of wood. In terms of flexibility, bamboo is easier to bend and has good load-bearing capacity even after bending. And it is renewable, much more renewable than wood from trees, because if you cut bamboo, it is able to regenerate itself without need for planting. And the life expectancy in service is claimed to be up to 50 years. And this is where the advantage of wood comes from, because this seems to be longer, provided, of course, that you provide treatment to both materials before they are used. And in terms of cost, bamboo, the price of bamboo varies depending on the amount of work that went into the utilization or processing of bamboo. Of course, wood is generally more expensive than bamboo. And there is comparison as well made on the strength properties. And what this slide shows is that for one species of bamboo, the Dendrocalamus asper, the compression strength and tensile strength is even higher than wood, represented by spruce. And of course, the modulus of elasticity is lower, but weight for weight, bamboo is stronger than wood. Of course, it cannot be strong, although there are claims that it is stronger than steel. The study of presented by Awaludin showed otherwise. Let me now move on to the next part of my talk, which is a brief description of the state of Philippine bamboo industry. This is just a cursory look on the industry. If you want a deeper understanding of the status of the Philippine bamboo industry, there is this Philippine bamboo industry roadmap that was prepared by Dr. Flor Tesoro. This was commissioned by the Department of Trade and Industry, and it provides a deeper analysis of the state of the Philippine bamboo industry. But for purposes of this presentation, I will talk about certain aspects of the bamboo industry, like the area of land planted to bamboo, trends in the production of bamboo poles, price, and the export of bamboo-based products, and also look at some of the enterprises that are engaged in utilizing and processing bamboo. And for this, I relied heavily on the 2019 Department of Trade and Industry data survey information on the enterprises that deal with bamboo in the country, and also talk about the entry of some companies engaged in the production and sale of bamboo-based products in the country. So the first thing I'd like for us to have an appreciation for is how much land is available for bamboo. That will tell us how much resources, bamboo resources, can be made available to enterprises that will engage in bamboo processing or the production of products that use bamboo as raw materials. And as you can see from the several studies done on estimating how much bamboo is available in the country, the trend is not very clear whether we are losing or actually increasing in terms of the area of land that is planted to bamboo. Initially, from the very first attempt to determine how much bamboo is available in the country I'm sorry, this should be 1910, not 2010. The estimate was 200,000 hectares. But between 1910 and 1978, for a period of 60 plus years, this dropped to only 7,290 hectares. And even smaller area was estimated by Dr. Bertuccio in 1983, but this was only for a survey done in 9 provinces. Other estimates was the RP German inventory in 1988, which estimated that available comes was about 2.73 million linear meters in 1988. And then there was again this estimate of area in 1997 in the bamboo master plan of about 39 to 52,000 hectares, down to 48,000 hectares in 2008, and then again down to 15,000. So as you can see, there is no definite trend except for the last few years when there was this survey done by a team of researchers from UPLB, particularly the bamboo inventory project that used remote sensing, that estimated an area of 20,000 hectares for 3 provinces alone. So that was quite surprising. But even more surprising is the result of a survey done by this company, Grids, for the Forest Management Bureau, which estimated that the total area of bamboo planted in the country is 645,000 hectares. So this is quite a lot compared to the 200,000 hectares. So this probably calls for a review of the methodologies used. And because it puts to question the earlier estimates as well as the new estimates of the total area of bamboo planted in the country. And even if we add the 256,000 hectares supposedly planted, areas planted to bamboo under the National Greening Program, I think this area of 645,000 is still too high to be comfortable with. In terms of the production of bamboo poles, from 2012 to 2021, the trend is increasing. So this is good because it tells us that one, maybe really the supply is increasing, and second, that the industries or enterprises that use bamboo may be also increasing. That's why the demand is increasing for the material. And in terms of which provinces are producing the most number of bamboo, this is spread across many provinces. Number one is Pangasinan. Number two is Tarlac. Number three is in Batangas. These are all in Luzon. And then fourth is South Cotabato in Region 12, and fifth is Bukidnon in Region 10. Note that there is none in the Visayas region. And this is ironic because the bamboo capital of the Philippines is supposed to be in the region 6 in Visayas. But then there is an explanation to this, which I will tell, which I will discuss later on. Now, another indicator of where the industry is going is the price of the poles. I just look at one species, that is Kawayan Tinik. And as you can see from this graph, the price of Kawayan Tinik has also been increasing, not only for one region, but for many regions in the country, starting at a price of 50 pesos per pole in 2000 to more than 150 pesos in 2021. So you can see the price increasing almost 3 times for this commodity. However, for the export of bamboo poles, the trend has been decreasing. Actually, there is not much export of bamboo poles. Government has not been looking at this, the trade of bamboo favorably. And I think the reason for that is because we want to encourage the use of bamboo for processing. And then for the export of bamboo furniture, however, the trend seems to be downward as well. This is only for the period from 2000 to 2013. And the trend for different types of bamboo furniture has also been decreasing. But bamboo furniture are not the only products that we are exporting. According to the Philippine National Trade Repository, there's a whole range of products that we are exporting made of bamboo. So you can see from this list the different variety of products that we are exporting. The problem is I cannot find the trade statistics on these products, probably because these are classified as wood. In terms of the category of bamboo products, they are still generally classified under wood. So it may be difficult to look for specific items listed as bamboo products. Moving on to the data of DTI on the number of enterprises by region, enterprises on bamboo, you can see from this graph that the number of enterprises also differ across the different regions. By the way, this survey did not include NCR, as well as the autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao. But as you can see from this table, or from this graph, the most number of enterprises, and by the way, this is not just only enterprises, this also includes individuals who are engaged in the business of selling and making different kinds of raw materials, finished products from bamboo. You can see that the highest graph is for region 12 or region 11, the one in blue. And in terms of the diversity of products, again, the regions differ in terms of the different kinds of products that they produce. But what is common across regions is that kubo and bed, the manufacture of the bahay kubo, and the manufacture of bed is common to all regions. All 15 regions reported that there are enterprises that make kubo and bed out of bamboo. The next would be the sale of kawayan. I suspect that maybe in some of the surveys, this was actually neglected, but I assume that kawayan is also being sold in all the regions. And then surprisingly, lampshade is the third highest ranking product that is being made in all regions, followed by baskets and then by bilao or and dining tables. And I think it's important to know which are the most common products that are being made out of bamboo, so that we would know whether the research direction, the research being undertaken addresses the need of the enterprises that use bamboo as raw materials. And we are, I think, on track in terms of research on furniture, because there is a big ticket research program being implemented by the Forest Products Research and Development Institute to improve utilization of bamboo for furniture in the country. But as far as handicrafts like lampshades, bilao, I still have yet to find a good research program that deals with trying to understand the issues that beset this sector of the bamboo industry. In terms of the product mix, you can see I chose different regions from different island groups. In Luzon, I chose Region 1. They have a relatively good mix of products that the enterprises in Region 1 make. But for Region 7, you see a very large chunk of the pie being made up of enterprises that make furniture. So I think this can be explained by the fact that Cebu is considered as the furniture capital of the country. So that explains why most of the enterprises in Cebu makes or produces bamboo or a mix of bamboo and other products as their outputs. In the case of Region 11, what surprised me is that almost 85% of the interviewed individuals and enterprises are producing a product called bamboo ply sheet. And however, I could not dig deeper into the reason for this, and I hope if there are participants from Region 11, they can shed light on why this is the most important product out of bamboo in Region 11. And then some peculiar products. You have plywood and liquid smoke from the Cordillera Administrative Region. The Cordillera Administrative Region is also producing indigenous baskets along with Region 12. Then surprisingly, bamboo shoots is only an enterprise for Region 2. And I say surprisingly because in many parts of the country, we consume bamboo shoots, but maybe not from canned bamboo shoots. But I am also alarmed by this because bamboo shoots is probably the second largest export product of China from bamboo. So this tells us that we're not doing a lot as far as bamboo shoots is concerned. Region 4A is the only region that reported on the sale of ornamental bamboo, but I think this was in 2019. But with the pandemic, where people became more engaged in planting, maraming naging plantito, perhaps there have been more regions that engage in ornamental bamboo. Kaping is used for drying fish, and only one region reported the sale or the manufacture of this product. And I wonder why, because kaping is used to dry fish. So we produce dry fish, which is claimed to be the national ulam in the country. With apologies to those who consider lechon as our national ulam. And then you have kalakat in Region 11. Kalakat is actually sawali, but in Region 11, they combine bamboo with coconut leaves to make kalakat. And again, another surprise is that in Region 13, they produce waiting shed as a product, on top, of course, of the bamboo huts that most of the regions are making. Now, what are the most favored species of bamboo? In the survey, many different names of species of bamboo were mentioned. Actually, there were 58 different names. But the ones that is most commonly mentioned in all the regions almost is Kawayan tinik. Of course, Kawayan tinik is known by several other names like tinik, tinukon, marurugi. But in the case of bayog, which is the next highest ranked species, bayog is known as bayog regardless of which region you are in. And this is where the next species is where the complexity comes, because giant bamboo is known as botong in some areas. In some areas, botong is considered as bolo. So I'm not sure whether giant bamboo, botong, and bolo are favored, are considered less favorable in some of the areas of the country, because there is some confusion into the local names that are used for this species. Buho and bagakay can be similar because in some areas, buho is also known as bagakay. But again, I think for research being done on the different species of bamboo in the country, I think we're on track as far as focus being given to Kawayan tinik, giant bamboo, and bolo. But for bayog, which is an endemic species, no? Surprisingly, it was not listed. It was not included as an economically important species in one of the earlier studies on the inventory of bamboo. And a last point in the state of the Philippine bamboo industry is that foreign bamboo-based companies are coming to the country. So you have this modern bamboo, which claim to have refurbished the BPI, Bank of Philippine Islands, with flooring made of bamboo tiles. And then you have another company. This is the Zhu Bamboo Philippines, which at first glance you would think they are local companies. But Modern Bamboo, in their website, you find them claiming to be using moso, which is Chinese bamboo. And for Zhu Bamboo, they are they claim on their websites, Bambusa balcoa, which is not a native species of bamboo in the country. Happily, I also found a webpage for a local bamboo products manufacturer whose products can compete. No, I say can compete because you can see the pictures or the websites. They are high-end, very nice looking bamboo products, but the motif, I think, is quite Filipino. So I could say that this group or this company it claims to be based in Cebu, if I'm not mistaken, can give these different bamboo-based companies coming from abroad a run for their money. But is this good or bad? Is the influx of foreign-based companies good or bad for the bamboo industry? There are mixed opinions on this. There are those who say that this is good, allowing foreign companies to enter the country is good, because that will put pressure on the local companies to improve on what they're doing. On the other hand, there are those who say that what is the chance of Filipino companies to compete with this company? So they might be just going to kill local-based companies. So I'd like to get your inputs on this later on as in this talk. Now, moving on to the study that I made, that I said triggered the title for this study, is this small study that I did for the Asian Forest Cooperation through the Non-Timber Forest Products Exchange Program. The location of the study is in the Visayas, particularly Region 6, and focusing on Maasin, which is known to have a dense growth of bamboo in the Maasin watershed. The area has been pre-selected. I did not have the leeway to choose which area to zero in on this study. For the reason for the selection of the site and the selection of the enterprise to look at has been provided by the Forest Management Bureau. And you can see on the map, this is the map produced by the Inventory Project for Iloilo. You can see the relatively dense green color on the map for the area where Maasin is located. And the enterprise that we look at is Kapawa. This is an acronym for a very long local name for this group of or federation of community-based organizations. They actually already have their own building. And this building serves as a work area for the members of the federation. And also, it also serves as the storage area for the product that they produce, which is the amakan. So you can see rolls of amakan being stored in the bodega of this of Kapawa. This is also where we held the focus group discussions that we conducted for the study that I did. And on the lower bottom of the slide is the Maasin watershed. And this is fully covered with bamboo. So this is where the community members or the farmers belonging to Kapawa get their bamboo. And this watershed plays a very important role in securing the water supply of the city of Iloilo and the surrounding municipalities. So a lot of the water supply for the Metro Iloilo Water District depends on this watershed that is being kept intact by the farmers belonging to Kapawa. Moving on to the value chain map, and I apologize for the many parts of this value chain map, but basically you can move from left to right to show that we start with pukams being made into strips or sukdap, which are woven into mats, and then they are transported using the truck of Kapawa and sold to a trader in Aklan, or that is able to reach the consumers that way. Or there are those who buy directly from the Kapawa or from the community weavers to reach the consumers. Another pathway is that for the bamboo pole itself. There are three kinds. You have the poles. Incidentally, uh, in this region they have a specific name for the pole. They call it layon. I don't know if this is used in other locality. They also have the pusog or the guod, which is what is left behind when you cut the top part of bamboo. And then you have the bitlag, which are actually split bamboo that are used for fencing. So again, this is the pathway. There are consolidators in the community that collect the bitlag and the poles from the different farmers, sold to traders, and then they are brought to Bagsakan, bamboo Bagsakan in Iloilo City and other towns in the province of Iloilo. So basically, that's the flow of the value chain map. And in terms of how the sukdap or and how the amakan is made, you begin with harvesting the pole, selecting actually the pole that is to be cut, and then splitting the pole. And then once you split the pole into smaller pieces, then you make the strips. The strips are the ones that so the strips are made by making splits perpendicular to the cross to the thickness of the cam wall. So you have the sukdap here, and then the sukdap, the weaving is initiated depending on the designs that you want to make. And then mostly women do the weaving. And then these are stored in the storage areas that are made available to the community by entrepreneurs or by collectors or consolidators of this bamboo. What strikes me in this flow, in this scheme, is that all of the activities here are done by hand. No machine is involved. So I was wondering, where is science and technology as far as the making of amakan is concerned? Oops. And in case you are curious about amakan, amakan is actually woven bamboo, and among the traditional uses of amakan is it is used to dry palay. So you can see this man actually spreading the palay, and of course, because the community can make different designs of amakan, they can also be used as decorative panels. And you can see them. You can see amakan panels or amakan walls in this chapel, also in this house. And when we asked the community, the owners of the house, how long the amakan has been, or how long the house has been existing, given that it has amakan walls, they said that the house is already 20 years or more. And this, by the way, is advertised by the community, by the people's organization in their Facebook page. But ironically, no, again, they cannot sell outside of the island of Iloilo. So they are stuck in terms of the market for this in Iloilo, and probably just as far as Boracay, no, where industry is booming, the tourism industry is booming, and are in need of materials for rest houses, restaurants, and similar buildings. Moving again back to the value chain, the product is layon, distributed in different sizes, like small, medium, and large. And how much of the layon goes into making sukdap for amakan making, and how much of it goes to just the sale of the pole in its solid form. The distribution is 30% for the suklap that goes into the manufacture of amakan. 70% goes into the solid pole products. And to make one amakan, you need more or less 9 to 10 poles to make one amakan. And if you compute how much that will be for the community when the amakan is made, that will end up to only 110 a piece. So they will get back 110 pesos a piece for the pole if the amakan is made or if the bamboo is made into amakan and sold at a price of 1,100 per piece. But for the same pole, if you make that, if you just sell it without converting it into amakan, you almost get the same price, 110 pesos per pole. And so I asked the community, why go through the process of making them into amakan when you can get the same value for your pole when it reaches the bagsakan with less effort on the part of the community. And I like the answer that they provided, because by making amakan, you consume less of the material to cover a big area in your construction. So in a way, by making amakan, they contribute to the environment. And this is just not one of the ways by which they contribute to the environment. Remember that the community is also keeping the watershed intact. They are the ones responsible for keeping the watershed intact, which supplies the water to the Metro Iloilo area. But do they get a premium for this? I doubt it. So these are some of the benefits that are not they contribute to the benefit. They contribute to the provision of water, but do they get something in return from this? Oh, by the way, the picture that is shown below is the bitlag. This is the fencing material that the some of the community members go through to be able to add value to the bamboo. Okay, so let me end this talk by some of the key takeaways that we learned from the study that I made. The activities, as you have seen, are mostly manual. This has limited the efficiency of the process, as well as the value addition in the value chain. And then there is uneven income capture for the stakeholders. There is only very small value added to bamboo in the initial stages of the value chain compared to what the sellers, the bagsakan, and also the Aklan trader, the trader in Aklan, is able to make from the sale of amakan. And when I asked the community, would you like to know how much the Aklan trader is selling your amakan for? They would not want to know. Why? Because they don't want to risk that suki relationship with the trader in Aklan. That is sad, because for me, for the industry to move forward, everybody must move forward, not just the trader. And then another takeaway is that women are the ones, while they are engaged in this in the business, they are the ones who are engaged in the more time-consuming activities along the value chain. They are the ones who are engaged in weaving. 95% of those who are engaged in weaving are women, and this takes time away from their household chores. And then local artisans get less credit for their understanding of science that they deserve. I already mentioned about why they prefer to sell amakan, or why they have a preference for converting the bamboo into amakan. And then they also have many explanations as to why they only collect bamboo at a specified time of the year. Science-based explanations. So I think the community are getting less credit, no, than they deserve for the understanding of science. And also this calls for the scientists, no, to be more grounded in terms of addressing conduct of research that address the needs of those in the local community. And also this raises some questions, because I have been visiting the area since 2010, and it's sad that after more than 10 years of having visited the area, little improvement in the lives of there seems to be very little improvement in the life of the community, and I don't know why. And then the second question has to do with, I already mentioned about the contributions that they are making, but how will they be able to get a fair share of their contribution to the environment? And then another reason, I mentioned this earlier, why they cannot sell outside of Iloilo is because it's horrendous for them to be engaging in the sale of their amakan outside of the island. No? Ang hirap para sa kanila na makapag-transport using sea vessels, no, from Iloilo Port to the other parts of the country. And it strikes me, bakit yung local outbound products are very difficult to transport, but for imported inbound products, walang kahirap-hirap na makapasok, no, yung mga produkto. And then, of course, bamboo science. Because of the pressure to harness bamboo, given the diminishing forest area in the country, then there is a lot of pressure on the science community to do more research that is relevant to the community that is making use of bamboo as raw materials. Still, there is a lot to learn about bamboo as a plant. I mentioned about 58 different species, names of bamboo being mentioned. We have to understand flowering as a phenomenon in bamboo, because when they flower, they die. And if you plant bamboo and they die, then you lose an investment there. And then we also need to understand the properties of the clumps better. And then also on the socioeconomic aspects of bamboo production and utilization. Incidentally, the science of bamboo is globally, it has improved so much that there is now a journal on advances in bamboo science. And only this year, a new book, Bamboo Science and Technology, has been published. And in China, you know that China is the world's #1 as far as bamboo is, the bamboo industry is concerned. They came up with this book, 100 Heroes of China's Bamboo Industry, documenting the contributions to bamboo industry over the last 30 years. Of course, they credit this to the policies that are that have been made in China in view of the need of the country to open up the market, and also for them to be able to participate in the free market, in the global free market. And they attribute this to, of course, there are more than 100 heroes, but looking at the list, 25 of these heroes are scientists, and then 25 are investors. Then you have also artists contributing to the development of the industry, and only less than 10 are bureaucrats. Contrast that with how bamboo is being promoted in the Philippines. And so I'll close this presentation with an acknowledgement of the NTFB exchange program, AFOCO, UPLB, my home unit when I was still active in service, my affiliation with the Bamboo Professionals Incorporated, especially the chair, Dr. Tesoro, and my kakawayan, or the co-members in this group, my former students, of course, my wife, who agreed to take on the task of doing household chores while I was preparing for this presentation. Salamat po at magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much for that very comprehensive seminar about bamboo, Dr. Razal. We learned a lot, actually learned a lot. And just to mention, our theme for this month is on decent work and economic growth. That's why this topic is really in line with our theme. So please feel free to write your questions on the chat box, or you may raise your hand if you have a question. And I can see two raised hand now. I just can see who are, oh, all right. So Al Serafika, he's actually a BOD member of PAASE. Al, please, you may ask the question. Sir, you may also maybe stop sharing your slides if you want, Dr. Razal. And Al, you may ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ramon, for taking the time. I remember meeting you in
Yes, I
2020.
remember you.
Just before we closed for COVID, actually in March 2020 for UPLB
yeah.
celebration. That's when I met Ramon. And we were talking about it because I was just about to start a consulting with FPRDI, with Molong Agangan, on bamboo and wine barrel projects that DOST hired me for commercialization. And that consulting, Ramon, really opened my eyes in terms of the bamboo industry. And I looked at the bamboo innovation roadmap that was being developed, as well as the Innovation Council, Bamboo Innovation Council, about their plans about a 17,000 hectare plantation in the Visayas. So there was a lot of talk about it. But when I dig deeper, unfortunately, we focused on one product. These are the bamboo panels for desks and chairs, which is, I think, flattened bamboo using the technology out of FPRDI. There already is a policy among DepEd to actually procure bamboo-based desks and chairs at most 30 to 40% for the locality. And there was a trial in Pampanga to support the Bamboo Furniture Association, or the Furniture Associations of Pampanga at that time. But where we ended up, when we dug deeper over the 6 months, we looked at the value chain. The biggest problem was the lack of supply for raw materials. The bamboo furnitures of Pampanga was quoted to make 4,000 desks and chairs with procurement and disbursement ready from the province of Pampanga, but the Furniture Association couldn't deliver. So I did ask my fellow academician, Dong Rasco, where I can trace some of the potential sources of raw material. He pointed me to Nueva Ecija in Port Magsaysay, because they were looking for 3 to 5 year old bamboo plantation, a minimum of 100 hectares. When we looked at the Pangasinan production of Cesar Kiambao in Bayambang, they were too young, and the shoots were not ready for full-time production. So hopefully 3 years hence, since that event that happened, I didn't follow up in 21, 22. But I would want to look at that particular application because the technology is already complete, except that there's a missing raw material change. How would you recommend, based on your contacts and also with Dr. Tesoro, how can we reconvene? I like the heroes, the 100 heroes, where you have businessmen, you have scientists, you have artists, and you have bureaucrats being part of the whole transdisciplinary team to promote bamboo. Is that something that we can form with our help, with your help, that we can complete the benefit of that consulting that I spent traveling to Molong Agangan's FPRDI Institute about 5 times? I think one was almost during COVID already. But I wanted to continue that. Again, any projects that I encounter, I wanted to take it. If it takes 10 years, let's do it. But your opportunity of being here and me on the board of PAASE and having been with FPRDI, I would love to ask your opinion on how we can then advance that product of bamboo panels for producing for desks and chairs for that's already mandated on a policy. And the only missing piece was getting an example ecosystem in Pampanga that had a problem on raw material supply. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all for that question, and it's good to see you after a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, in addressing the issue of how to get people together, actually there are many attempts. There is now this one big group of bamboo. We call this the Philippine Bamboo Society of Advocates Incorporated. This is headed by Dr. Tesoro, and happily, alumni or the AIM are actually members of this group. Apart from scientists, and of course, some politicians also are in this because they claim to be advocates of bamboo as well. So I think it's not going to be difficult to convene such a group, and maybe some support for the conduct of the activity, which probably PAASE can help to organize. Getting together this many people, as many people as there are, who are interested or who are sincerely interested in promoting bamboo in the country, and help the farmers who are engaged in the production of the raw material. Two, there are companies that are on the issue of ensuring the supply of bamboo for producing the panels that are needed by the DepEd. One such company is the one in Bayambang, Pangasinan, owned by Mr. Kiambao, I think the good mayor in the town. And the approach that they use is, although the plant is already in existence, they also included the development of bamboo plantations to ensure that the company will have raw materials that it will need once the company is fully in operation already. So I hope that I think they have been helped also by bamboo experts to set up to put up the plantations, and I think they are doing this in phases. So you did not plant 10,000 hectares all at one time, because it's very difficult to cover 10,000 hectares. But I think the ones that they started are close to becoming 3 years old already. So they're very close to harvestable stage.
Correct.
And I think once they are ready to harvest, then they can produce the panels, the engineered panels, and make them available at a cheaper price, because this is also one of the limitations of using or mandating the use of engineered bamboo, because the cost is quite high. But if you can now produce them at a large scale, then I think the price will go lower, and then the schools will now be able to afford the desk. Because right now, bamboo desks made of bamboo for schools are still more expensive than the plastic chairs. So they would not want to procure, because they will be subject to the audit of COA. Why did you buy this when it's more expensive than the plastic monoblock chairs?
Yeah, I think that you're right. I mean, we came to the same conclusion that there are blockages on procurement, being able to have the lowest bid. And also, but you're right, Mayor Kiambao's at this point, probably are 3 to 5 years old already. If I remember, I saw the pictures of the plantation. My crew in FPRDI visited them, and we were supposed to see them after the pandemic. But I think we need to revisit that again, Ramon. And then let's also, on that trip, probably talk to the people at the Pampanga Furniture Association to look at their contract and their pricing, because the economics really do matter in terms of how long to transport from Bayambang to Pampanga, given that they already have the contract and the bids lined up. I think it's just completing the whole value chain, and definitely we hold both pieces of the puzzle, and hopefully we can complete it. And we'll talk to Molong Agangan. I hope he's still director of FPRDI, and then see how we can create a model. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're after. A model that makes bamboo a complete valued product where everyone benefits, from the farmers that planted to the shippers that actually produce the product and the users as well, being happy that they bought the economic viable product that they can use over time, which is that end in business. So thank you for your time and look forward to talking to you moving forward. Thanks again, PAASE, for organizing. Gladys, salamat.
Thank you, Al, for the for those questions and suggestions. So, I was wondering, based on your presentation, Dr. Razal, you mentioned that we have 200,000 hectares. Where are those? Because you see, Al said we have a problem of the product, right? We have yeah, we don't have enough. There's the lack of supply, but you gave that statistics, that data of 200,000 hectares of bamboo that was identified, right? So where are those? And then aside, so is there a government, can our government help us establish government agencies that will help our farmers as well, aside from the existing one?
Yeah, okay. Good question, Dr. Completo. There is this bamboo inventory project undertaken by UPLB in 2019, just before the pandemic. And unfortunately, the project was only implemented in 3 provinces, Iloilo, Pangasinan, and Bukidnon. But it turns out that we were correct in identifying these provinces because these are bamboo-rich provinces in the country. And just for these 3 provinces alone, we were able to find 20,000 hectares of bamboo, of area planted to bamboo. But a bigger study implemented by FMB showed that we even have more than this countrywide. But the estimate was even bigger at 600,000 hectares. And I said that if for example, and the National Greening Program of the DNR was actually able to accomplish its target of 256,000 hectares in 2022, then actually we have more than 200,000 hectares newly planted on top of the existing bamboo. But there is one problem in terms of the accessibility of the area. There are restrictions in harvesting bamboo along the riverbanks. There are restrictions in harvesting bamboo at high elevation. There are harvesting restrictions along steep. So while there may be bamboo all over, not all of this can be accessed because of the restrictions by law and because of the physical restriction of being able to harvest them. So I talked to one bamboo product manufacturer. He has been in the business for some time. He said it's difficult now to get more bamboo. So while there may be available bamboo, there may be in remote areas already difficult to access. Okay? So I think that's one of the reasons why, while the picture looks good in terms of the coverage of the bamboo, but in terms of the accessibility to this bamboo, then I think if we develop plantations, those plantations should be accessible, malapit sa roadsides. But unfortunately, in these areas, you compete with cacao also. Some people would like to plant cacao or coffee rather than bamboo. So we have to show that the economics for bamboo is better than the economics for these products to encourage people to plant more bamboo than the other crops. Now, in terms of whether farmers can get help in the planting of bamboo, I think the Department of Agriculture has classified bamboo as a high-value crop. And what does that mean? By classifying bamboo as a high-value crop, then farmers can access technical assistance from DA. Now, this happened during the time of William Dar, Secretary Dar, as the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. So he categorized or he classified bamboo as a high-value crop. And so there are many programs in the DA that are made available to producers of high-value crop, and bamboo included. Then the farmers can already, farmers who are engaged in this business can already access or get help from DA for planting bamboo.
Okay. So that's good. So DA, hopefully DA will continue to support the farmers. Okay, so we
Yes.
have, so I'd like to call on Jurgen Primavera for the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Razal, for your very informative presentation. I have a minor
welcome,
comment and a major one. The
sige
minor
po.
comment really is on scientific names, because I would have loved to see a slide of all the 58 scientific names, or at least the scientific names of the bagakay and the tinik and all, maybe 6 commercial species, no? Because local names are very unreliable. That's why you get confusion, no? So siguro next time, if you have the equivalent scientific name, that would be very helpful. The second comment, or maybe question, is on your recommendation that the bamboo farmers should receive their fair share of environmental contribution, no, for protecting the watershed. I think it has to go deeper than that, kasi I'm based in Iloilo, so I know this problem of the Maasin watershed. In 2008, Iloilo had Typhoon Frank, no? For the first time, we got flooded in the city. Bakit hindi daw nakaprotect yung Maasin watershed when it has been planted, no? Under the NGP and so on. And I also found on a website the breakdown of the cover, which was 40% na lang yung forest cover of the natural forest, and then the remaining 60% would be mahogany, which is an exotic species, and bamboo. Now, yung bamboo, I'm a biologist, by the way. The roots are shallow, no? Not like the dicots, the forest trees that really go deep, kasi they have primary roots, the tap roots, and they go deep and hold the soil. So medyo maybe the protection of the watershed, no, of the water in the watershed is mainly due to the natural forest cover. Kasi yung mahogany is no help either. Many know this, yung mahogany, when you have exotic mahogany, parang semento yung soil, because there's no organic matter, so there's no absorption of water. So I would suggest siguro to, if there are SUCs listening sa Iloilo, to first do the basic science, no? Review again kung tama ba yung 60% exotic and bamboo and 40% yung natural forest, to review that and get the metrics, no? What percent would be the trees that really hold the water, no? That keep the water cycle going. What percent yung exotic mahogany and what percent yung bamboo. And maybe recommend a certain ratio. Kasi we cannot, okay, we do clear our forests to make into fields for crops, no? But we should have a ratio of forest to field, because we cannot clear the whole forest to convert into a field. Dapat nandun yung forest to provide the ecological services. So in the discussion, no, maybe it can be introduced the ecological perspective of, okay, you make bamboo plantations, but at the same time, you protect the equivalent required forest cover for the watershed. Kasi if I remember my botany right, talagang the roots of bamboo and other grasses are superficial. They do not go deep, no? They cannot hold the water, not like the dipterocarps and the other dicots. So yun yung major comment ko, and I wonder what you could say about this. Thank you, Dr. Razal.
Thank you, Academician Georgian. Salamat po for your question. The first comment on scientific names, that is very well taken. Thank you very much. It is true that for one species, there are many local names. So it is important that we use scientific names. Unfortunately, in the report that I use as a reference, they only mentioned local names. So it was not easy for me to, because there are several common names for one species, it was not clear to me, or it was not easy to determine whether they are referring to which specific species they are referring to. Only common names were mentioned, but that's not an excuse, of course. As scientists, we should be more conscious of the use of scientific names. Second, regarding the ratios of trees to bamboo, I agree. This is something that needs to be studied more deeply. This is no longer an area that I can speak authoritatively about, but of course, I had access to one study done by our colleagues from Central Mindanao University, where they showed that a plantation planted with bamboo is able to hold water and stop soil erosion from the sloping terrain. So there was this one study that showed that bamboo can protect the surface from surface water runoff. Now, in terms of, but I also know that after a typhoon, in some areas, you can see the riverbank eroded, except when there is a bamboo growing along that portion of the riverbank. So somehow it tells you that bamboo is able to hold the portion of the riverbank. And I beg to disagree in terms of while the bamboo can have an extensive root system, especially the non-clump forming bamboo. No? But I think this has to be studied more deeply. I agree. And once that study has been done, then we can clearly say whether we should recommend or not the use of bamboo for watershed areas in the country. That's all I can say, Akad Georgian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Jorgan, Dr. Jorgan, for the comments and the questions. We have some comments here on the chat box. These from Darlene Casiano. Hi, Doc Razal. Many water districts have been encouraged to plant in watershed areas and DNR NGP funding for upland watershed areas. We should now mainstream and acknowledge the contribution of bamboo for environmental services, and we should put a value to this as part of DNR accounting. So this is just a comment from Darlene Casiano. And now there is a question from Dr. Ruel Nacario. Okay, so he has to, his question is, if properly treated, termite proofing, etc., and owing its to better strength properties, how do Philippine bamboos compare to wood-based products as alternative construction materials for buildings or houses?
Okay. As if you don't know Dr. Nacario. Yeah. How does bamboo compare? There are studies that show that bamboo can last longer than structures made of wood. Unfortunately, we cannot show results for studies being done on this in the Philippines. But one thing sure, if you use bamboo for your housing, they tend to withstand typhoons more, no, than structures that are made of wood. And the reason for that is not because of the material used, but because of the construction of the house made of bamboo. They say that for houses made of bamboo, there's a lot of space, there's a lot of room for the wind to pass through, so it cannot topple the structure because of the ability of bamboo houses to just let the wind pass through. No? But a deeper study on the durability of bamboo based structures is needed, especially since we are now just producing new materials from bamboo. remember that the engineered materials are not have not been there for quite a long time yet, compared to wood, which has been there in existence for a long time. So there's need to be more tests done on engineered panels made from bamboo, especially those that make use of local species. No? Because what's available are those coming from China, which is made of moso. I'm sure that the Chinese have made studies on the use of on the durability of moso. But if we insist on using our local species, then there has to be studies that will address the durability of engineered panels that make use of the local species of bamboo in the country.
Okay, thank you. Naputol po si Dr. Lacario. So he was not, but yes, thank you very much. I will relay it to him.
Yeah, okay. I see him in the background though.
Oh, okay, there he is.
Hi, Roel.
Naputol sa kabilang room. Okay, but he was
okay,
able,
sorry. Yeah.
it's okay po. But there's another question here from the audience. Ang dami. From Alexandra Beatriz Manangan. Good day, Dr. Razal. I would just like to ask what viable and long-term solutions should be implemented to ensure the sustainability of the bamboo industry. I think this is one of your also your major question that you presented, right?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that question. I think for any industry, it's important that we have sustainable amount. We know exactly how much resources is available. So I think it's important to start with an understanding of how much is really there. No? So an inventory of the resource will be very important so that we will know the interventions in terms of whether we should promote the planting of bamboo in more areas to be able to ensure that the needs of the bamboo-based enterprises will be met in the long term. So I think that's one intervention. Another intervention, which I failed to mention in the presentation, is that there should be policies, government policies that are conducive to the development of the industry. I don't want to go into that right now, but the problem is bamboo is considered as a non-timber forest product. And because of that, the management of bamboo as a resource is covered by the DNR. And the DNR has many regulations that limit the access to bamboo. So I'll stop there because we have undertaken studies on policy that especially policies that impede the development of the bamboo industry, and somehow DNR has responded, but still we have a long way to go in terms of improvements that need to be made so that the environment will be more conducive to the development of the bamboo industry.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Razal. So it's very inspiring that you are continuing your advocacy to improve the bamboo industry here in the Philippines. And with that, I would like to present a certificate of appreciation. Okay, let me just share screen. And then we look forward to more discussions with you, Dr. Razal. Okay, let me just read this certificate. Okay, so the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering, and we are celebrating our 43rd PAASE Anniversary Week, awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Ramon A. Razal for graciously sharing his knowledge and expertise in his talk entitled Reflections on the Science and Business of Bamboos in the Philippines during this year's PAASE 43rd Anniversary held on April 25, 2023 via Zoom, signed by our PAASE President, Dr. Mariano R. Santo Domingo, and yours truly, the current Vice President and the President-elect for next year and the next 2 years. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Razal, for giving us your time and giving this opportunity for us to learn more about our bamboo industry. And we hopefully you will continue to work on it with your advocacy, and maraming salamat po for your service even after retiring, and for being a professor emeritus, you're still actively serving our country. Again, maraming salamat, and let me just share screen again for our future activities. I think if you can read, there are a lot of messages for you, Dr. Razal, on the chat box, congratulating you, and also really admiring your advocacy about bamboo industry. Let me just share with you some activities that are related to the 43rd PAASE Anniversary Week here. So this Thursday, we will have a webinar on publishing in STEM journals, specifically the PAASE journal, which is the SciM journal. And we have new members, more than 30 new PAASE members. We will have that oath-taking this Friday, April 27, at 8 a.m. Philippine time, and that will be on Thursday, April 27, Eastern time. And right after the oath-taking of the new members, we will have a business meeting at 9 a.m. Again, so thank you very much. I encourage you to open your videos, please, your camera, so that we can have an picture taking. Okay, ready ba? Feb, are you there? And just to let you know, we had more than 100 attendees at this. We had our limit is only 100, Dr. Razal. We reached that limit, and then we had also some audience through the FB live streaming. So here we can maybe open your video so we can have picture taking.
1, 2, 3. Another one for page 2. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Page 3 po. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
There is a question for you, Dr. Razal, from a student from Nigeria. Okay. She is a postgraduate student of Cavite State University. Can you suggest any international body or organization on bamboo that targets Africa? My last question po.
Yes, there is an organization, the International Bamboo Rattan Organization. It used to be INBAR, International Network for Bamboo and Rattan. They do a lot of cooperative work with institutions in Africa. So they even allow students to attend training projects on bamboo in China. So send me your email address and I can send you where you can communicate with this organization, the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, which is based in China.
There you go. And then hopefully our dream, sir, ay magkaroon din tayo ng book na yon. Ano po? Yung sa China?
Yes, we are a member of it. We are one of the original members of this INBAR.
Okay. Thank you very much again. Thank you very much. So we have a lot of students from UP Los Baños and colleagues from UP Los Baños. Thank you, Al. So Al, thank you for accepting my invitation for Friday's oath-taking. Okay. And we're looking forward to more attendance. Every month po, we have these webinars sponsored by PAASE. And we have a website po. We have also an FB page that we usually post our webinars and the recordings of our discussions, and not just a fireside chat and other activities. Again, maraming salamat po. Dr. Razal, I will send you po the certificate of appreciation. And sana magkita po tayo. Yes, kababayan, maraming salamat. Di ko po alam kung ako nauna talaga na from Pisay. Nakita mo yun, Al, may record pala ako.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Very proud of you.
Al po is also from Pisay.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Magagaling kayo. So,
okay, so ayun.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Okay,
soon,
thank you.
Ramon. I sent you a text already. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you
Thanks. See you
very much.
later.
Bye. Thank you.